Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1043, written by MonthFar, The Black Triangle Encounter. I encountered a black triangle UFO just a little over 20 years ago. Myself and 3 of my friends were all sitting in my backyard on my picnic table, the top of it so we were all facing the same way, looking up at the clear night sky one evening in the small town we lived in. We had just left the bar and were chatting about our night and smoking plants when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we saw something really big, all black, triangle in shape, with no lights whatsoever on it appear in the night sky. It was a split second that we all saw it move from one end of the sky to the other, and it covered the stars as it did this. It was that massive. Easily the size of a football field, no joke. All of us just looked at each other and exclaimed at the same time, "Holy shiznit, did you just see that?" It was insane. I'll never forget it. Then, a few weeks after the incident, I had a very vivid dream that I was on a very cold operating table with what I could only sense as beings that were not human, and they were tickling me each time they touched me, almost like a faint electrical current. There were more than one touching me, in different places, all at one time. It was weird, because I could feel their physical touches while asleep, like I was actually there. I wasn't able to see anything while this was going on. I'm pretty sure I had something over my face, so I couldn't see them or anything around me. However, I didn't feel threatened or scared by them at all. The dream ended abruptly, and I woke up in my bed. It seemed so real to me, and to this day I fully believe I was abducted while asleep, so they could study me. I have not seen the black triangle in the sky since, or had any more alien abduction dreams, thankfully. But it was definitely one of the strangest occurrences for me to date. Has anyone else had a similar encounter? Case notes are file 1043, The Black Triangle Encounter. So if I had to venture a guess, I'd say you were abducted earlier in time than when you had the dream. The dream was your mind slowly piecing together what was suppressed. I think aliens have memory suppression technology, but it's clear it doesn't work perfectly, and there's methods and techniques you can use like hypnotherapy to recover them. In some cases, just dreaming, the reorientation of the synapses and memories in your brain can recover the severed connections. The mind is a giant maze of networks, synapses trying to connect to each other, and those connections represent our memories. If they're blocked or maybe just chemically suppressed, then you can't access the memories. But if you rewire a different path around the maze to get to the same destination, it's like those maze games, puzzles that you have to solve, like you start here, you end there, how do you get there? Well, if you just rewrite a different path, that's kind of easy. And that can happen via dreaming. So I think you were recovering those suppressed memories. I don't necessarily think they were happening while you were dreaming at that time period. Curious though, do aliens really just want to study us? At this point, I would imagine that they have enough data on us. So what are they really after? Is it something more than just curiosity? I don't think they're malicious necessarily, or outright evil. I don't think they want to exterminate us or enslave us. They could have done that so easily. They may just be observing and trying to gather as much data as possible. Case file number 1044, written by Chinamatic-co, Schrödinger's elevator. I live on the 15th floor of a condo. One day, my family was taking one of the 3 elevators to the ground, first floor. On the way down, the elevator stopped on the 4th floor, and the doors opened to a mother and her son. This was during the pandemic where people didn't share elevators, so they said they would get on the next one. The doors proceeded to close, and the elevator goes straight to the ground floor with no other stops, which takes about maybe 5 seconds to reach the ground floor from the 4th floor. When we step out of the elevator, we see the mother and son already walking halfway down the hall towards the lobby of our building. Note that the stairwell access requires a few different staircases with locked doors where you go from the 2nd floor to the 1st. Did they call 2 elevators somehow? Was the other one faster than the one we were in? I mean, it takes about 5 seconds to get into an elevator, push the button, and get it going. How did they beat us? Case notes for file 1044, Schrödinger's elevator. So I believe when we're isolated from the rest of the universe, in a room or a metal box in this case, and actually maybe the fact that it is a metal box amplifies the isolation. It's harder for any outside matter or energy to get into that box if it's metal versus just like a cardboard box or something. We are in a sense disconnected from reality. So maybe not a full disconnect, but a soft patting away. And we know that any interaction with matter can collapse its waveform and alter it in other ways, which is why we can't know everything about particles, and because of the uncertainty principle, you can't observe something without changing it. Most likely, I think time simply warped in that metal box, the confinement. So for you, it felt like 5 seconds, but in reality, it might have been 30. Case file number 1045, written by Cereal Milk 001, The Tesco Bag Woman. I can't explain what happened today, and I've never come across anything like it in my life. I literally can't stop thinking about it. Today I was leaving work after a meeting and driving home on my all-too-familiar route. Before anyone asks, yes, I was sober, and no, I wasn't under the influence of any drugs. I also have no mental health issues or under any abnormal stress. Anyway, I was coming to a turnoff on the road, and there was a car in front of me that had stopped to let traffic that had the right of way pass. This is a popular crossing for people trying to skip the road. As I came to a stop, I noticed a woman wanting to cross. She stood out to me instantly as she was carrying a Tesco bag at a weird angle. Instead of holding it by the straps, she had the opening curled up and was holding it out in front of her chest. She appeared in her mid-50s and was wearing a woolly hat, parka jacket, and the hood up. She hurt my head a little, as you could tell she didn't have much money and had a sad expression on her face. I waved my hand to signal to her to go ahead and cross in front of me, and she gave me a gentle nod to thank me. I thought nothing more of it until I traveled around 10 minutes in the direction of which she was coming from. As I pulled to a set of red lights, I put on my handbrake, and someone caught my eye to the left of my vision. It was the same exact woman, same clothing, carrying the same bag, heading in the same direction she was originally heading towards. This happened at 2:30-ish p.m., and it is now 10 p.m. I can't stop thinking about it. It would be almost impossible for her to get there ahead of me via means of transport or walking. I know the buses that pass this route, and none of them pass me by. I thought that maybe she caught a ride from someone, but again, I would have been ahead of them, and to get to where I spotted her the second time, you'd have to go around yourself, adding around 20 minutes extra journey time. I'm a skeptical person, so I told my wife, and she just kind of laughed it off and didn't take me seriously. Anyone have any ideas or similar stories? I'm really trying to make sense of this for my own sanity. Case notes for file 1045, The Tesco Bag Woman. So sometimes most known glitch types don't really fit well. Doppelganger, astral projection. I can't see them applying because of the bag itself. They wouldn't carry over. If you astrally project, you're going to take the clothes that you're wearing at the moment, but nothing else. Like the car, you wouldn't take it for driving, you wouldn't take the bag with you, probably not the bag. So those remnants that come along and tag along, to me, shave away the possibility of it being just a doppelganger or astral projection. Multiversal peering is often the answer that I go to, but it's still odd. Why was the woman so displaced? If it's a similar universe, presumably nearby, should be relatively similar in location. The fact she was 10 minutes away, still heading in the same direction. I guess maybe something weird happened in that universe where she was delayed for 10 minutes. And now time for the quote of the day. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Unknown, but not Buddha, although it's attributed to him. This is a very important quote. I see so many people so angry all the time. And sometimes there's rational reason to be angry, but it doesn't help you. Unless you can act on that anger in a way to actually produce justice but even then, most of the time you just end up hurting yourself and others innocent people. It's like in Arcane, where they want to fight off the oppression, and generally speaking they have just cause for that, but you end up harming so many other people. I think anger is so powerful because we can use it to justify unimaginable horrors. So try to dissipate it if at all possible. And if something or someone is making you angry, try to distance yourself from the situation itself. You don't have to be around people you don't like. That's a very important lesson. Even if it's family, I think if they're treating you poorly, give them chances to change. Tell them honestly, without anger. Just be honest and upfront of what's going on. And, I don't think this is acceptable. Please change. Can you understand my perspective? If people won't change to abide by how you want to be treated, then just leave. It's not wrong to do that. In fact, it's exceedingly correct.